Hey, how's it going, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to web scrape cryptocurrency prices reports from TradingView's website. Alright, so if you go to TradingView's website, and on the markets, cryptocurrencies, prices, and this is the website we're going to scrape using Python. And my end goal is I want to write a Python script or Python bot to extract all these tables, overview, performance, oscillators, trending following these 4 tabs. On the right hand side, we can also toggle the currency between USD and BTC. The Python program we're going to create should be able to handle the currency as well. And since all these tables are generated using JavaScript, that means we cannot use BeautifulSoup for this exercise. So to script the information, I'll be using Selenium. And you can download the driver from my website, and I'll link the link in the description below. And for this exercise, I'll be using Firefox driver. Right, so here let me go into my VS Code, and here let me insert my code snippet. So I already created a blank script called bots.py. And here let me activate my environment first. So here's my code snippet every time when I need to use Selenium for any types of web scraping work. And some of the libraries, I won't be even needing to use them. So here I'm providing my user agent. Basically, I'm telling the website that what browser and what operation system I'm using. And here's the file location to the driver. And here I'm creating an empty Firefox profile object. Then I'm going to override the existing or default user agent. And this line will launch the browser. And using implicitly waits method, I'm basically telling the browser that how much time I'm going to wait. If nothing's returned after 7 seconds, then it's going to do an error. Right, so here, let me go back to the website. So here I'm going to grab the website's URL, and I'll send that to the URL variable. And browser.get is going to navigate to the website. Alright, so here let me run this code block. So here's the web page. I'm going to start by checking against the currency. So the first thing I want to do on this website is I want to toggle the currency. So here I'm going to create a variable called currency. And ideally, we should be able to choose what currency we want to display. Let's say I want to display the currency as USD. Next, I want to figure out the element source code. So I'm going to hover my mouse on top of this toggle control. And I'm going to hold the shift key, right click, inspect. And let me zoom in a little bit more. Right, so this is the element associated to this control right here. Now if I toggle the currency, you're noticing that this line right here and this line right here is going to update. So depending on the active currency is not going to have this mode title active attribute. So here I'm going to reference the browser object dot find element by xpath. So I want to insert xpath query to locate this element. Inside the xpath query function, I want to locate the span tag. Then I want to insert the contains function. And I want to check against the class attribute. I want to check whether or not if this element contains the mode title active text. So here I'm going to simply copy this attribute. And it's going to be a string that I want to check against. Then I need to insert the close parenthesis and closing square bracket. And I'll name the output as active currency. And here I can insert if statement, if active currency text is equals to currency. Then I'm going to ignore. Otherwise, I want to toggle the control. So here let me figure out the element associated to this control. And it's going to be this line right here. Right, so here I can see that the control type is a checkbox. So inside the else block, I'm going to type browser find element by XPath. I want to locate the input tag followed by the attribute type, and it's going to be checkbox clip. Now if I run line 25 to line 31, and here I'm getting a name error, so that means this line is incorrect. Oh, so here I have a typo, should be contains. Right, so let me try again. So my active currency is set to BTC, and I want to change that to USD. Right, so here I can see that the active currency is set to USD. If I change the currency to BTC, and I'll run this code block, and I'll change the active currency to BTC. Right, so that's the first step. For step number 2, I want to iterate each table. So here we have 4 tables. I want to iterate each table and import them into my Excel spreadsheet. So this is going to be import tables. To create an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to use pandas library. Here I'm going to create an Excel writers object. And I'll name the object as Excel writer is equals to pd.excelwriter. For the file name, I'm going to name the file TradingView crypto price prices.xlsx. Next, I want to find all the categories. So for this Excel spreadsheet, we're going to have 4 tables or 4 tabs. And since I don't want to manually type the category's name, so here I'm going to locate the element associated to just one of the tabs. And I want to locate the parent element, and it's going to be this one right here. Right, so I see that these 4 elements are associated to each tab. And all of them share a common class value, which is this value right here, item-ee underscore m underscore mmj. And because the active tab is going to contain this attribute value, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert the browser object find elements. By XPath. And I know this is going to be a div tag. Actually, my VS Code is getting really slow, so let me restart my VS Code real quick. Give me a second. Alright, so let's continue. So here I want to locate this element by looking at the tag type, follow the attribute type, and it's going to be class. And because one of the item contains the active attribute value, so I want to insert the starts with function inside my expect query. Here what I'm saying is I want to locate this tag type, and from all the div tags, I want to look at the class attributes. And I want to locate all the attributes starts with this attribute value, item EE. Here, let me just copy paste the attribute value. And it should be double quotation. And this statement is going to return as a list, so I'm going to name the list categories. Okay, so my VS Code is really slow right now. So here, let me do this. I'm going to completely close my VS Code. Now let's try again. So I'm going to run this code block. And if I print in categories, I should expect 4 elements return. Now I want to iterate each category, basically each tab. I'm going to say for category in categories. Now let's go back to the website. Here I want to show you something. Alright, so here we have this load more button. So basically, there are additional contents or records that we need to load. And I want to create an operation to load all the tickets on this page. Alright, so here let me refresh the page. So inside the loop, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the tab to make sure that I'm on the correct tab. So here I'm going to insert try except block. And I want to check against the element not interactable exception. Here let me just copy paste the exception name. I also import the exception. Element not interactable exception. And if I run into this exception, I'm going to simply pass the operation and move on to the next. And to set the active tab, here let me find the element source code. And it's going to be this element right here. And since my category name is going to be a text or the tab name, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually check against the tab name. So I'm going to type browser.find element by XPath. And I want to check against the div tag, followed by the display text. And it's going to be coming from the category object.text. .click. So just be aware that if the category is the same as the active tab name, then we're going to run into this element not interactable exception. Oh, then I want to sleep for 2 seconds for the content to load. Next, we need to continue to simulate the behavior to click on this load more button until this button disappears. So let me figure out the element source. And it's going to be this element right here. Alright, so here I'm going to create a variable called load more. And I'll set the default value to true. So while the load more value is true, and it's going to be element not interactable exception as well. So while the push button is available, I want to keep clicking on the push button. So here I'm going to type browser.findElement by, I can actually use the class name. So I'll use the findElement by class name method. And I'll grab the class value. Click. Then I want to wait 1 second. And continue until we run into this exception. And if we do, I want to change the load more value to false to stop the loop. And finally, since the table is going to be a table tag, so if we look at the parent element, here's the table element that contains the table information. And to simplify the data extracting process, we can actually use the pandas library. We can type pd.readHTML. And this method is going to look at the markup and to see if any table element exists. If it does, then it's going to load the table as a data frame object. So I can simply pass the page source markup. And because this statement is going to return as a list, so I need to reference the first element. Since I know from this page, there's only one single table. Then I want to save the table to my Excel spreadsheet. I'll type div to Excel. And I'll assign the writers object. And for the sheet name, this is going to be the tab name. And I'm going to ignore the index. And once the loop is finished, and that means we have import all the tables, then we can save the Excel spreadsheet. Then close the browser. And that's it. Right, so one last thing. I want to convert this code block as a function. I'll name the function as main. And we're going to have a parameter called currency. Basically, I'm going to move the currency variable inside the main routine. And I'll call the main function, then I'll provide the currency. Let me just do one more check to see if I'm missing anything. Right, so everything looks good. I'm going to terminate this session, and I'll press F5 to run the script. And here I'm an attribute error. Oh, this should be find element by XPath. Right, let me try again. And we're getting another error. No such element exists. Now let's take a look. Oh, and this will be a function. And it looks like the script is finished. Now if I go into my project folder, and here's the TradingView crypto price Excel file. Now let me open the Excel file. So to verify if we are getting the correct result, the easiest way to do is we can simply compare the result against the website. So in this Excel spreadsheet, I have 4 tabs. And if I look at the number of matches, here we have 804, so 804. And if I count my list, and I should expect 804, but here I have 807. So let me refresh the page. Oh, I know why. Because based on the currency type, the number of matches is going to be different. So for BTC, which is what I specify in my script, and here we're getting 807 matches. If I go to Performance tab, and just to quickly verify the information. So here we have Bitcoin, and let's check this one, Hex. Okay, so the number should be 11, 31.22 and 50.1. So I think the number changed a little bit while I was exporting the results. But overall, the numbers look correct to me. So this is everything I want to share in this video. And hopefully you guys found this video useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.